every single football stadium, every single NASCAR stadium, every single baseball stadium with the babies of lives who've been lost in America.
Meet Troy Newman, a former engineer, now one of America's most vocal right-to-life activists.
I'm really nobody special. I'm a former surfer boy from San Diego, but I'm passionate about saving babies' lives. I was adopted at birth. And I look at these children as people that might have been me. They might have been my brother or a sister.
Yesterday, Troy Newman was on his way to Australia for a 10-day speaking tour and conference. At Denver Airport, he was pulled off his plane.
Are you going to answer to the LA, to the Australian government, or to the fact that I have a ticket?
He captured the moment on his phone.
Sir, we're not checking you any further. It says you cannot you cannot continue due to the Australian Embassy.
Pro-choice Labor MP Terry Butler was behind the push to stop Newman's tour of Australia.
In this country we have a long history of debate around abortion, around terminations of pregnancy, but it's done in a really respectful way. And that's really important because you're talking about safety to doctors, safety to nurses, safety to people in the profession, but also safety for the families involved.
I'm a student of history and warfare, and I realized that we can actually, using some very strategic, practical guerrilla warfare type of technique, we use the principles of warfare to go after the abortion industry and make them close.
The activist has said he believes doctors who perform abortions should be tried as murderers. Even though his visa had been revoked, Troy Newman was determined to get to Australia. His wife, Melissa Newman, says after being pulled off their United Airlines flight in Denver, they still managed to get to Los Angeles to make their flight to Australia.
We just went to another airlines and booked our tickets to LAX. And when we got to LAX, we had our boarding pass already because they issued it in Wichita from LAX to Melbourne. So we just went to we were on time to go get on LAX to Melbourne, and they let us on the plane without any trouble at all.
They landed in Melbourne this morning.
I don't know what they're afraid of. I don't know what they think he's going to do here.
Late today, Mr Newman was still holed up in a cell in Melbourne Airport, while his wife was alone in the hotel room where they planned to stay. In the post-9/11 era of heightened security, the question is, how was someone without a visa allowed to fly to Australia?
There's a fine system and a mechanism for putting punitive damages to the airline company, but it may not be enough, I guess. You know, it didn't discourage or didn't encourage the company to correctly check whether or not Mr Newman had a legitimate visa to enter Australia. So I think it highlights that there may need to be further policy work done in that space.
Mr Newman's alleged support of a murderer in the US has raised further concerns about his character.
New details in our breaking news here on the slaying of a controversial abortion provider, George Tiller, in Kansas.
An activist who killed an abortion doctor in Kansas in 2009 later claimed Newman had told him he wouldn't be upset if an abortionist was murdered, an allegation Newman denies. Australia has already seen one murder by a pro-life activist. In 2001, a security guard was shot outside this abortion clinic in East Melbourne. United Airlines now faces a fine for letting Mr Newman fly here. The group that commissioned his trip to Australia has engaged lawyers to fight his deportation.
Well, I can't believe it. We're a democracy. We have freedom of speech. We have freedom of assembly. Yes, we do have protests, but they're peaceful. Troy is a peaceful, non-violent person.
In the last hour, the High Court ruled he could not be deported for 24 hours, while the minister determines if he should stay or go.
I don't think people should be concerned. I think, for starters, the general public should be happy that the minute that Mr Newman stepped forward onto Australian soil, he was met by the Australian Border Force, who immediately took him into custody. I think that's a really strong message to the Australian people that the security procedures are right.
But we are winning this fight, my friends. And we will not relent, we will not stop speaking, we will not stop marching until every abortion clinic is closed and every baby is saved.